Hey everybody, this is 22 Tiger Dude and I'm here to review How to Train Your Dragon. Before I review the film, my guest star, MrFilmJack, is going to review it. He's a very awesome guy and I'm glad to have him be on this channel to review the film. So, MrFilmJack, take it away, good sir.
Thank you, 22 Tiger Dude, for that lovely introduction. It's really great to be on your channel. Even though it's my first collaboration, it already sort of feels like home. And ladies and gentlemen, I am MrFilmJack, and now it's time for the review. How to Train Your Dragon tells the story of an unlikely hero named Hiccup who manages to tame and in fact train a dragon. And I have to say that while the film certainly consists of a large amount of adventure and in fact humor, really at the core of it there's this beautiful tale about a character that makes this film so emotionally satisfying. And we get to see Hiccup, who from not only an emotional perspective, but really from a very physical and in fact visible perspective, is different from everyone he's living with. He's far scrawnier compared to the Vikings, including his father that he's staying with, and really that gives you an interesting insight into the quote-unquote underdog that we will be following on this journey, and the very fact that he is going to be underestimated by all those around him. And while it might seem that his cause is to prove something to his father or to the girl that he's infatuated with, really it's something that he wants to prove to himself. And we see through the course of this film him trying to break out and in fact try and be a Viking, only later to realize that that's not what the point of the film is. The point of the film is that you should be who you are, and at the same time try and find that seed within yourself that really makes yourself flourish. And the film manages to give us such a deep insight into Hiccup simply because of the, dare I say, the timidness, innocence, and playfulness that Jay Baruchel's voice has. And it's really the relationship between Hiccup and in fact the dragon, someone who does not speak throughout this film, that really is risky to portray for that long on screen, but its payoff is so essential to the overall functioning of the film that I believe it is an essential, beautifully portrayed core. And the film manages to create this large-scale adventure by embracing the very size that it has, not just of the dragons, of course, as compared to the humans, but really of that Viking era, wherein the Vikings are in fact introduced to, let's say, modern-day lingo, really making this film have a slick edge in terms of its own humor. And of course investing us into a world that does exist in a particular period, but really delivers a message that is relevant for pretty much any time. Furthermore, our investment into this very animated world, a world in which there are certain elements which we are not comfortable with in the sense that they bear a mere visual resemblance to what we really know of in our own world, comes about because of the various technical aspects that the film consists of, like the sound and especially the absolutely commendable musical score that really manages to understand and in fact elevate the material that it is trying to deliver. And to add to all that, the film manages to create this almost interesting lore and mythos about certain dragons, especially in a particular scene wherein one of the characters is talking about the various attributes in terms of a numerical scale with regards to, let's say, the jaw size or the physical strength of a particular dragon. And while the film manages to reel you in from the get-go with a beautifully relatable introduction told from a slightly lackluster person's perspective, there are certain mild moments within the film that don't entirely grab your attention or maybe feel a tidbit stretched out. Nonetheless, How to Train Your Dragon is an absolutely beautiful tale telling the story of a man who basically wants to achieve, and he dares to achieve, and he sets out on what he wants to do because he has it within him. Really a theme that we see in a lot of animated films, but this executed in a particular period in a slightly different manner and in a certainly adventurous manner as well. I'm going to give How to Train Your Dragon a double yes. And that's my review. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/MrFilmJack. Be sure to subscribe and let me know that you were sent here because of 22 Tiger Dude. Thank you once again for having me, and now, back to you.
Thank you, MrFilmJack, for reviewing How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon, in my opinion, is an outstanding animation film. You have the voice talents of Jay Baruchel, Gerard Butler, Ferrera, Jonah Hill, Plenty of talented people voicing for this film. It had an interesting storyline between Hiccup and then you have Toothless, the dragon, who is, in my opinion, is one of the cutest animated characters to ever come. I just love that character so much. Toothless is definitely such a joy to the film. Jay Baruchel, who voices Hiccup, he does a terrific job voicing him, and even though he does use the same voice, I really don't see Jay Baruchel voicing in studio through the mic. I actually see the character Hiccup. And just how Jay Baruchel brings Hiccup to life is just so magnificent. America Ferrera does a really wonderful job as Astrid, and then Gerard Butler as Hiccup's father. Craig Ferguson's in here too, and he is actually pretty funny. Everyone does a really good job providing their voices. I was just really intrigued by the storyline, the journey with Hiccup and Toothless, their friendship and how strong it is. It was just really wonderful to watch. The flying sequences in the film are spectacular. How it's animated, how the details looked, just what they did to make the flying scenes just look so epic is amazing, and that is one of the best parts of this film, and it really makes you feel like you're flying on Toothless. It gives you that experience of making you feel like you are actually riding on a dragon, and that's what makes the film seem so epic, in my opinion. The action sequences to the film, when it is there, it's really good, especially the finale. The finale blows me away every time. I've always loved how that was crafted. The film could be very funny too. It has a lot of very great, genuine humor to make the family laugh, and that's what I think animation films should do. I also love the soundtrack by John Powell. He did a magnificent job. My favorite soundtrack in this film is by far the that soundtrack is easily one of the most epic soundtracks I could ever hear being put in an animation film. It blows me away, and I could listen to that soundtrack over and over again. The writing is great, the storyline is strong, it's very well directed, it's a very clever animation film that the whole family could definitely just sit down and enjoy. It's colorful, very creative. How the movie concludes is really amazing. I really enjoyed the risk that they actually took in the ending, because you wouldn't normally expect to see something like that in an animation film, but you could tell that the creators, they just really went for it, and I really appreciate it. My only flaw with this film personally is just that I thought Jonah Hill's character, there were a few times where he's getting a little bit annoying. He's a little too obnoxious in my opinion, and he forces down the humor a little, just in a few moments though. And I also did feel like the opening scene of this film was a little rushed, and then you get to Hiccup's narration, which I also felt like was rushed. Overall though, How to Train Your Dragon is an outstanding animation film. I really loved almost every moment of the film. It's very well made, brilliant job by DreamWorks. It's clever, well animated. It's just beautiful to watch. I am going to give How to Train Your Dragon 3.5 out of 4 stars. Please check out MrFilmJack's channel, a very great reviewer with such passion for films. I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the description below. I am 22 Tiger Dude. Don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power!